Good evening. I'm so glad you're here. It's just wonderful to see every one of you. I want to tell you, I guess I'm supposed to turn this on. Maybe that's better. I met a composer whose name is David Magda in Szeged, Hungary in February when I was there. And we were both at the time heartbroken because a friend of ours had been unjustly arrested, and we were trying to figure out what we could do to be supportive of him. His name is Eash and he is the CFO of a group called the Hungarian Evangelical Fellowship. My brother and I had gone to Hungary to meet them. We've known them for 30 plus years. And so we were in Hungary. This situation happened that was very difficult. And I met this man, David Magda. And he was a composer, and I am a composer. And he said, "What do you do when there's trouble?" Well, obviously, you write music. Isn't that what you do? I think some of you do. We decided to both write on the same scripture, which is from Isaiah 45. And the scripture says, "I will go before you. I will go before you and level the mountains. I'll break through gates of bronze and bars of steel. I'll give you treasures of darkness, riches stored in secret places, so that you may know that I am the Lord, who calls you by name." I'm really comforted by God's willingness to make a path through the hardest situations of our lives. And most intriguing to me is that phrase, treasures of darkness. So David and I began writing music, and we started praying that there could be a benefit concert somewhere, sometime, when these two pieces of music could be presented. And here we are. Thank you for being here to hear these. David's music is entitled, "I Will Go Before You," and my music is called "Treasures of Darkness." Soon after I got back from Hungary, started writing the music, and I found out that my cancer had reoccurred. So I was facing life-altering medical challenges, and now I really get to figure out about treasures of darkness. In this demanding place, I've caught glimpses of light that help me know that there is a bigger reality, a bigger story happening than what I can see. God is going before us. God is calling us by name. And it is a gift beyond gifts to me that I have gotten to sing with these guys and with Bill. And your presence here tonight feels like this amazing gift to me. And everybody else. I'm just making it all about me. So I'm asking tonight that you open your heart to receive whatever it is you need. And perhaps light, and perhaps even a glimpse of treasures of darkness.
Before we go. My name is Kenzie Brister, and I am very happy to introduce you to the Llewellyn Sound Circle, Song Circle. We are inspired by a group in Dubuque, Iowa called the Safe Passage Singers, a group that I was part of. And like them, we are a group of women who gather together regularly to sing for the purpose of joy, community, and healing. We mostly sing in my living room, but also on front porches and backyards and living rooms and baby showers, anywhere someone is going through a hard time, in some kind of transition, in need of a little bit of love and healing. And for them, we sing for them and with them and to them. And today, we are gonna lead you in song. We are not just performing, we want you to join us as you feel comfortable. And this kind of singing is about community more than perfection, so if you feel a little bit nervous about singing, I encourage you to try anyway. Our first song is called Sending You Love, and we're gonna sing it 3 times through, and then we're gonna have some silence. And in that silence, I invite you to call to mind someone who you know that needs light in their lives, someone you want to send light to. And if you want, you could speak their name out loud to yourself or to someone near you, or you can just hold them in your heart and send them light. And after that silence, I'm gonna read a poem, and then we're gonna sing the song a few more times. And then after that, we'll sing 2 more songs, and you'll get instructions as we go.
We are sending you light to heal you, to hold you. We are sending you light to hold you in love. We are sending you light to heal you, to hold you. We are sending you light to hold you in love. We are sending you light to heal you, to hold you. We are sending you light to hold you in love. Allie Miller. Megan. Mark.
I cannot tell you how the light comes. What I know is that it is more ancient than imagining, that it travels across an astounding expanse to reach us, that it loves searching out what is hidden, what is lost, what is forgotten, or in peril, or in pain, that it has a fondness for the body, for finding its way toward flesh, for tracing the edges of form, for shining forth through the eye, the hand, the heart. I cannot tell you how the light comes, but that it does, that it will, that it works its way into the deepest dark that enfolds you, though it may seem long ages in coming, or arrive in a shape you do not foresee. And so may we this day turn ourselves toward it. May we lift our faces to let it find us. May we bend our bodies to follow the arc it makes. May we open and open more and open still to the blessed light that comes.
We are sending you light to heal you, to hold you. We are sending you light to hold you in love. We are sending you light to heal you, to hold you. We are sending you light to hold you in love. We are sending you light to heal you, to hold you. We are sending you light to hold you in love.
Amen. For this next one, we thought it might be a little challenging to just throw it at you, so I'm going to teach it to you with my hands, all right? So it goes like this. Only in silence the word. Your turn.
Only in silence the word.
Very nice. Only in dark the light.
Only in dark the light.
Only in dying life.
Only in dying light.
Ride the hawk's flight on the empty sky.
Bright the hawks fly on the empty sky.
Beautiful. Let's put it all together.
Only in silence the word. Only in dark the light. Only in dying life. Bright the hawks fly on the empty sky. Only in silence the word. Only in dark the light. Only in dying life. Bright the hawks fly on the empty sky.
Okay, I think you know it. Here's what I didn't tell you. It's a round. So, I know. So pick whatever team you want. Here we go.
Only in silence the word. Only in silence the word. Only in dark night. Only in dying light. Empty sky. Only in silence the word. In silence the dark. Only in dark. Only in dying. Only in dying light. Empty sky. Only in silence the word. In silence the dark. Only in dark. Only in dying. Only in dying light. Empty sky. Empty sky.
The next one's easier. Yeah. Ready?
When I rise, let me rise, like a bird, with no regret, joyfully. When I fall, let me fall, I will go
Good evening. My name is Frank Klein, and I want to share some information with you about the situation in Hungary and Western Ukraine. I will give you a short history of the group that we work with, provide a brief description of the work they do, my family's involvement with them, and share about the oppression that they face. 50 years ago, during the waning years of the communist era in Hungary, there was a group of Methodist pastors who felt their denomination was accommodating the communist government too much. This conflict came to a head, and they were kicked out of the denomination. After years of struggle and many attempts to resolve the conflict, they formed their own denomination. Finally, in October of 1981, their new church, the Hungarian Evangelical Fellowship, or HEF, was recognized by the Hungarian government as an official church. The idea of separation of church and state in Hungary is not the same as what we recognize. In Hungary, the state supports the officially recognized church with tax funds. Furthermore, they contract with official churches to accomplish certain social functions which are maintained by the church. The maintainers essentially serve as a conduit for the government funds. They oversee hiring appropriate personnel, leasing and maintaining facilities, and the day-to-day operations of the various institutions. The Hungarian Evangelical Fellowship maintains many different social institutions scattered across the country in this manner through their social arm called Oltalom, which translates roughly as care. These include residential settings for elder care, shelters for refugees and people experiencing homelessness and abuse. The HEF also maintains a variety of schools, including preschools, elementary schools, vocational schools, and a college. In general, it is the poorest of the poor and the refugee who are served by the HEF. In addition, without any government support, the HEF serves refugees. Currently, the focus is on the Ukrainians in both Hungary and in Western Ukraine who have been displaced by the war. These pictures show some of the treasures of darkness in Western Ukraine. In 1992, my parents, Bruce and Kay Klein, traveled to Hungary as part of a church delegation to visit the HEF leaders. That started a relationship that has lasted across 3 generations and 35 years. My parents lived in Hungary for about 10 months in the early 90s and made more than 40 trips to Hungary. My family and I visited for the first time in 2001. Since then, I've made more than 20 trips. I serve on the faculty senate of the John Wesley Theological College. The senate meets twice a year, and that's kind of my excuse for going. While I'm there, I meet with friends and colleagues as well as visit some of the institutions. Across the last 2 years, I've also had the privilege of making 2 trips into the Ukraine with HEF to encourage and support their work with people displaced by the war. Now I'd like to turn to the oppression that they're experiencing. In 2010, Fidesz, the political party in control of the parliament, removed the recognition of the HEF as an official church, and thus significantly reduced the amount of funds that they received for the first-class and effective social services that they've been providing. HEF sued the government, and they won, but the government still refused to pay all they owed. Well, things rolled along relatively quietly for several years, and then in 2022, the tax authorities raided the HEF offices and confiscated files and computers. And then, in the fall of 2023, the government withheld all funds for the services that they had contracted the HEF to perform. With almost no warning, the HEF was without funds to pay their teachers, their social workers, the elder care professionals, the shelter workers, the doctors, the nurses in their clinics, or any of their employees. Of course, many of the employees had to quit, and some institutions closed. Persecution ramped up even more. On February 20th, Istvan Onodi, the CFO for the HEF, was arrested. Now, I've known Istvan for years. He speaks English and has often been paired with me as a translator. He's a very thoughtful, a kind and gentle person. He's mild-mannered and a man of deep faith and integrity. At one point, Ishvan spent about 6 weeks in Seattle, and shortly after returning to Hungary, he married Ildiko Egot, and Rhonda and I were able to attend that wedding. Ishvan and Ildiko have 2 children. Erin is 11 and loves Legos and chocolate. Balint is a bright, inquisitive 8-year-old who loves maps, flags, and obscure facts about countries of the world. At 6 a.m. on February 20th, the police came to their house and arrested Ishvan. They searched the entire house and confiscated his computer, his phone, all the electronics they could find. They did let him get dressed, but took him away in handcuffs. This was done in front of his wife. Ildiko thinks the kids slept through most of it, but they probably saw their dad hauled up in handcuffs in a police car. They jailed him without charges for 30 days. After 30 days, he was charged and relieved. The trauma to his family has been significant. Of course, the HEF provided legal counsel and was as supportive as possible, but Ishvan's family lived through the trauma of the arrest, and for 30 days didn't know when or even if Ishvan would be released. The HEF is in a very difficult situation. They're being persecuted by the government in ways that impact those that they serve and the very fabric of their service. Even in the midst of this oppression, though, there are treasures in the darkness. The educators who run the Mav Telep School have kept it open at great personal cost. They received only partial payment of their wages and most worked 2 jobs. This school is in one of the poorest areas of Budapest, and more than 95% of their students are of Roma or Gypsy origin. This minority is one of the poorest groups in Hungary and are despised and suffer severe discrimination. These are pictures of Ukrainian refugees who also attend the Mav Telep School. This young boy is a refugee from Ukraine who has been in Hungary for a short time. He's fortunate to attend the 1st grade class in the Mav Telep School run by the HEF. As we observed this class, the teacher followed best practices for young kids, changing activities about every 5 minutes. He loved it and was very active in his participation. As Mimi and I left the class, we greeted each of the students, and when I came up to him, as I bent down to shake his hand, he reached up and touched the lapel pin I was wearing. This pin. It's a Ukrainian flag pin. And for a short moment, across generations, miles, social class, political borders, culture, and language, we connected. He knew that he was seen, and I knew that he had seen me. I never even learned his name, but we're connected. You don't know these people. They're many miles and time zones away, but in spite of that, you can connect with them too. Your donation can connect them to you in 2 ways. First, the funds provided will be used to carry out the hands-on work of the HEF to the poorest of the poor. It will help provide the support necessary for the Onotis to deal with the trauma of Ishvan's arrest. It will help schools and their institutions supporting Ukrainian refugees like this young boy. Second, and perhaps more important, it will signal to them they're not alone. It will signal that there are groups of people around the world who know their situation and who care. Whatever you can give will be appreciated and used well. Please give generously. You can make your checks to Klein One Foundation or use the QR code in the program to donate online. Thank you very much.
should have read the instructions. Some words of thanks. Thank you to Friends University for allowing us to use this space. Thank you to Robbie Rose for helping coordinate the setup. To Church of the Savior for the rehearsal space. To David Magda, the accomplished Hungarian composer who offered his creativity for this concert and a challenge for the bass section. To these dedicated singers who endured 14 hours of rehearsal with me. To our talented accompanist, Lauren Whitmore, who stood in at the last minute for the solo on this piece and did such a great job. To you, the audience, for your presence on a Saturday evening and your willingness to be engaged in this special project. Thank you for inviting me to be part of this event that links us with our Hungarian friends and provides an opportunity for each of us, at least in a small way, to alleviate some hurt in the world, to bring a glimmer of light in the darkness. You know, projects like tonight's concert only happen with clear vision and amazing administrative skills. This includes, the list is not, I didn't do an entire list, but this includes recruiting singers, setting up rehearsal space, securing music, providing refreshing snacks for rehearsal breaks, homemade, I might add, and also composing a piece for this group. My special thanks to the person who did all of this, the outstanding musician, composer, and all-around wonderful friend to so many of us, Miriam Overholt. That's enough. Please join us in the foyer out front here for a reception to celebrate this project. Tell Miriam how wonderful her piece is. At least I think it is. The tune has been going through my head for now 6 weeks, and it's a great tune to have going through your head in the middle of the day. And now, please accept this benediction.